Hello, growers. Want to boost your sales, reach new customers, and streamline your sales process, all from your home office? Ready Farmer 1, my book, is your ultimate guide to making it happen. Imagine increasing your farm's revenue without ever spending a Saturday at the farmer's market. The book will show you how to create, design, and market an online farm store, learn from real farmers sharing real stories about how they move their stores online, freeing up their weekends and increasing their sales. Get my book, Ready Farmer 1, on Amazon and transform your farm business today.
You've mentioned kind of the exchange capacity, and I know things like with cation exchange. Can you give us sort of a brief soil testing 101 level of exactly what those exchange rates, like what are we talking about here? What exactly is that looking at? Because you see that on a soil test, and I can just follow the recommendations, but it goes way over my head what that even means.
Well, the exchange capacity, and you can really get into the weeds on this. I mean, because they start talking about milli equivalents, and what that is a method to try to equalize the calcium, the magnesium, potassium, and sodium, so that they work out because of their different molecular structures and their different molecular weights. So, but just exchange capacity for me, when I look at a soil report, and again, it is not it. I'm fooled a lot of times because I already told you that you've got low exchange capacity clays. So the exchange capacity is basically the summation of cations that is being pulled off of the colloids. And the summation of the cations, they add those up and they come up with what they call the exchange capacity. So we tend to think the lower the exchange capacity, very simple, it's the lower the holding capacity. So, you're looking at a 5 exchange capacity, and it might be on your soil that it's got clay, it's 5 exchange capacity because it's kaolinite clay, but you might be able to look at a sand with a little bit of good humus in it and have a 5 exchange capacity. They're totally different soils, but I tend to look at the lower the exchange capacity, the smaller the container. So in your case, say a 5 exchange capacity, you're looking at a teacup.
Okay. Well, according to my soil test, I had 4.13. So we're even smaller than teacup.
Yeah, you're a little bit small. You're one of those little kids teacups.
Yeah. Nice and dainty.
So when you go to 10, 12 exchange capacity, now you're looking at like a half a gallon. You get to a 20 exchange capacity, yeah, you're looking at like a 5-gallon pail. That's got huge amounts of holding capacity. The big difference is I can change your exchange capacity very quickly, or I mean, change your soil balance very quickly. But you get a 5-gallon pail out here, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. But once you get it there, it's going to stay. I can get yours in 1 year, and it's going to slip out of balance pretty quick. So you're going to end up doing more annual testing than, say, somebody who has a higher exchange capacity and can expect a little more stability in their soils.
Gotcha. So you're looking at that, if that exchange capacity is the size of the container, then the inputs that you put in can, with this teacup, this dainty teacup, a splash of nitrogen will have a much bigger impact than the splash of nitrogen in the 5-gallon bucket worth.
Exactly. But the key thing is, since you mentioned nitrogen, this is one of my favorite ones. Nitrogen drives the boat.
Okay.
If you go nitrogen deficient, I don't care if you're in a 5-gallon bucket or you're in a teacup. If it goes deficient, it's going to pull all those other nutrients deficient with it. So you've got to really pay attention. Now, universities are good at looking at NPK, and rightly so. I mean, it's important, but all these other things are too. But yeah, you can get your soil balance out of balance, and you talk about those low exchange capacities coming in and piling on a bunch of compost or manure. One of the biggest problems that I have with people that have low exchange capacity soils that put on a lot of manure, they actually get themselves into a salts problem, soluble salts problem. And their phosphorus numbers, especially with chicken manure, and the cattle manure is not as bad as chicken. Hog manure is even as bad as chicken. So, but those are high chicken, hog manure, high phosphorus manures. I've seen gardens with 2,000 pounds per acre, and I need, on a vegetable garden, I like to have 350 pounds per acre. So, well, it's okay. I got an extra 1,500 pounds. Problem is that extra phosphorus sitting out there loves to tie up zinc, and you'll be zinc deficient the rest of your life if you don't figure on foliar feeding it. So again, it's all about balance. One of the things, if you're growing vegetables, you've got a higher demand for potassium and some of those other nutrients than general crops, wheat, corn, and beans.
Mm-hmm.
You just may have to put them on more often through the growing season.
Now, with that exchange capacity, is that something where you want to try to enlarge that container? You want to raise that exchange capacity, or is it just sort of baked in? This is what the soil chemistry is, and you just have to work with that, or what are some things that a grower can do to increase that, if that's something that needs to be done?
There's two things that affect exchange capacity. One is amount of clay and the type of clay. Number two is humus. So those humus might have exchange capacities of 200-300.
Wow.
Clays from someplace between 5 and 60. So you don't want to take a sand and add clays to it, because you could end up with concrete.
Yeah.
But humus is the key thing. So adding organics is a big plus. But just because you add peat and the laboratory picks up that peat moss as, now I got 20% organic matter, that's not the same as humus. Peat does not have an exchange capacity. It is just a organic additive. So if you can the more you can improve humus. The problem is, and I hear people all the time saying, "Oh, I've increased my organic matter 5 or 6% in the last couple of years." That's impossible to do, and because you've got to take this organic matter down to the point through the microbes where it actually now is broken down so far that it has exchange capacity. Now, what happens is, a lot of people that are no-tilling, they end up boosting their biological activity. Hey, it's great, but that laboratory will pick up those dead bugs of the biology. It's organic matter. So if you're doing this no-till and all these cover crops and everything, that's a great thing. I'm not against that. I'm just telling you, it's giving you a false reading on the soil report that you've increased your topsoil. I mean, if you're talking about topsoil, which is the normal soil with humus.
Hey there, want to spend less time pulling weeds? Check out Soil Shield by Modern Grower. It's the pre-cut landscape fabric solution to help you drastically reduce weed pressure. Just roll it out, staple it down, and plant. Then let it do the work for you. Say goodbye to endless weeding and hello to more free time. Plus, it's high quality, durable, and will last for years, saving you time and money in the long run. It's available in a variety of row and hole spacings to accommodate all the crops that vegetable farmers grow. Learn more about Soil Shield landscape fabric at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.